According to Ars Technica, there's continued efforts for NASA to develop a more rapid form of transport in order to get to the outer planets like Saturn and Jupiter and so on. But first, of course, is Mars. And at the current pace of liquid fueled rockets, it would take about 8 months or so, I believe. And that is just simply too long because it would require the stockpiling of a lot of food, oxygen, other supplies, and so on. Plus, the astronauts would get their lifetime assortment of radiation in the one trip. It's nasty out there. So they're thinking about a few methods. One of those is like a thermonuclear reactor.
Bombs. Nuclear bombs are the answer.
Explosions. Firing out the backside. Anyways.
Nuclear farts are the answer.
Yes, exactly. Gaseous clouds of nuclear radiation going in the opposite direction. Or solar electric propulsion. That is in the cards. According to NASA Administrator Charles Bowden, speaking about the program at the Aerojet Rocketdyne plant. One of the more viable propulsion systems that they're thinking about right now is solar electric propulsion. Think HAL ion projection, or HAL effect ion thrusters, which Aerojet Rocketdyne recently won a contract with NASA to develop. Do you know anything about ion projection or ion thrusting?
Not really. I don't really know enough about it to talk intelligently about it, but it's not what we use now, because now we just use solid fuel.
Or apparently in NASA's case here, liquid fuel, according to the article. Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was solid fuel too, but
yeah,
they may not have an advanced solid fuel mixture to go the distance. But I believe what the concept with ion thrusters is using electricity generated by solar energy,
right,
using an array on the ship. It would generate electricity and basically use ions to push themselves out by reacting, before I butcher this, I believe it basically pushes out ions to thrust itself, and those ions, of course, are hitting smaller particles, many small particles, like bits of radiation floating around in space and whatnot. And since solar energy is infinitely plentiful, it can still be able to propel itself on and on without running out of fuel.
So is this kind of like when they talk about solar sails? I don't think it's the exact same thing, because I know there's a technology where basically it's just what it sounds like. You have a giant sail that collects solar radiation, and because light acts like particles, it pushes you along.
Right.
So is this basically doing the same thing, except, well, not necessarily the same thing, but it collects solar energy and then translates those into ions and fires it out the back?
Yes, I believe it's the same concept, same principle. It'd be pretty interesting. They want to, according to Ars Technica, NASA wants to cut the trip time in half. So say maybe 4 months.
Right.
And that would make a very nice feedback loop of benefits. You need less food, supplies, oxygen.
You can make your ship smaller.
Yep, you can make the ship smaller, which makes it easier to propel. It's just overall smaller, faster, lighter, stronger, so to speak.
That's a Kanye West song.
I'm sure that saying's been around before Kanye West. Like, try the robots, the French robots. Yeah?
Right.
Plus, they won't be irradiated until they become mutants. Or we could just send French robots up into space.
Well, I did read an interesting thing about Daft Punk, where someone proposed the theory that Daft Punk was different people, that they kept rotating them out, and they just passed the mask along.
Huh.
And then basically, over time, people would think Daft Punk was immortal. Anyway.
Conspiracy.
But on a happier note, summer sales are here.
Yay.
Which may be a sad note because, ow, my credit cards.